There are moments when truth is not only received but carefully examined, when belief is not rushed but tested, when hearing is followed by searching, when faith grows not from emotion alone but from understanding. This is what happened in Berea. After leaving Thessalonica under pressure and opposition, Paul and Silas continued their journey. The mission did not stop, it simply moved forward. They arrived in Berea, a city that at first glance may not have seemed as prominent as Thessalonica. But what happened there would later be remembered for something far more important than size, power, or influence. It would be remembered for how people received the message. As soon as Paul and Silas arrived, they went again into the synagogue of the Jews. This was their consistent pattern. Wherever there was a Jewish community, they began by engaging with those familiar with the scriptures. But something was different in Berea. The people there were described as more noble-minded than those in Thessalonica. This does not mean they were socially superior. It means they had a different approach to hearing. They received the message with great eagerness. But they did not stop there. They examined the scriptures every day to see if what Paul was saying was true. This detail is one of the most important moments in the entire missionary narrative, because it reveals a model of spiritual engagement that is both open and discerning. They were not skeptical in a rejecting way. They were investigative in a sincere way. They were not resistant to truth. They were committed to verifying it. And this balance is crucial, because in many situations people fall into one of two extremes. Some accept everything without question, others reject everything without consideration. But the Bereans represent a third way. They listen carefully, and then they search deeply. They hear the message, and then they compare it with Scripture. This is not doubt. This is disciplined understanding. And because of this approach, many of them believed. Along with them, many Greek women of high standing and also many men came to faith. The message once again crosses social boundaries, but this time, the response is shaped by careful examination rather than immediate reaction. However, as in Thessalonica, opposition eventually arises. When the Jews in Thessalonica heard that Paul was preaching the word of God in Berea, they came there as well, agitating and stirring up the crowds. This is an important detail. Opposition is not always local. Sometimes it follows the message. Even after Paul and Silas moved to a new city, resistance travels to meet them. The disturbance begins again. Because truth that spreads widely often attracts attention from those who feel threatened by it. So the believers in Berea take immediate action. They send Paul away to the coast, while Silas and Timothy remain in the city for a time. Those who escorted Paul bring him as far as Athens, and then they return with instructions for Silas and Timothy to join him as soon as possible. To understand this passage deeply, we need to see what makes Berea unique. It is not just the belief that stands out, it is the method of belief. They do not reject Paul's teaching. They do not accept it blindly. They test it, they examine it, they confirm it. This creates a model of faith that is both open and grounded. It shows that true belief is not opposed to investigation. It is strengthened by it. The Bereans are not described as slow or hesitant. They are described as noble-minded. This means their character is shaped by seriousness toward truth. They care about accuracy, they care about understanding, and they care about alignment with Scripture. This approach leads to consistent daily engagement. They do not examine once, they examine every day. This suggests that understanding truth is not a single event, but a continuous process. Another important theme in this passage is contrast. Berea is contrasted with Thessalonica. In Thessalonica, the message led to jealousy, conflict, and organized opposition. In Berea, the same message leads to careful study and belief. This shows that the same truth can produce different responses depending on openness of heart and method of reception. The message does not change. The response does. Another key aspect is the role of Scripture. The Bereans use Scripture as the standard of evaluation. This is significant because it shows that authority is not based solely on the speaker, but on alignment with written truth. Paul is an apostle. His message carries weight, but even his teaching is examined in light of Scripture. This creates a healthy pattern of discernment. Authority is respected, but not unexamined. Teaching is received, but not untested. Faith is built, but not without foundation. Another important reflection is the relationship between eagerness and examination. The Bereans are eager to receive the message, but their eagerness does not replace discernment. They are both open and careful. This balance is rare but essential, because eagerness without examination can lead to confusion, and examination without openness can lead to rejection. The Bereans combine both, and as a result, many believe. This shows that truth is not threatened by examination, it is confirmed by it. Another layer in this passage is the spread of opposition. Even after leaving Thessalonica, Paul is not free from resistance. Opponents travel to Berea to continue stirring trouble. This reveals that opposition to truth can be persistent. It does not always stay in one place, but even when opposition arrives, the mission continues. Paul is sent away, but the message remains. Silas and Timothy stay behind. This shows that the mission is flexible. It adapts to circumstances. It does not depend on one location or one person. It continues through multiple agents and multiple cities. Paul eventually travels to Athens while the others continue work in Berea. This separation does not weaken the mission. It expands it, because different regions are being reached simultaneously. Another important theme is movement. The gospel does not remain stationary. It moves from city to city, from synagogue to synagogue, from opposition to acceptance, from one group to another, and in each place it encounters different responses. Berea becomes a model of receptive discernment. Athens will become a place of philosophical engagement. Thessalonica, a place of opposition and growth. Philippi, a place of breakthrough and suffering. Each city contributes a different dimension to the overall mission. But Berea stands out because of its approach to truth. They do not simply believe because Paul speaks, they believe because they confirm. This creates stability in faith, because what is confirmed becomes harder to shake. Another reflection is the importance of daily engagement. The Bereans examine Scripture every day. This suggests that understanding truth is not passive, it requires ongoing participation. It is not enough to hear once. It must be revisited regularly. This builds depth of understanding, it prevents shallow belief, and it creates a strong foundation for faith. Another important detail is that many believe, not just a few, many. This shows that careful examination does not reduce belief, it increases it. Because when truth is confirmed, it becomes more convincing. And when understanding is built, commitment becomes stronger. As the passage closes, Paul moves toward Athens, but the impact of Berea continues. Silas and Timothy remain to strengthen the believers there. This shows that mission work is layered. Some move forward, some remain, some teach, some establish. All contribute to expansion. The story of Berea is not just about receiving a message, it is about how to receive a message. With openness, with care, with consistency, and with commitment to truth. It shows that faith is not opposed to thinking. It is strengthened by it. And it reminds us that truth does not fear examination, because what is real will stand, and what is true will remain. Thank you for watching. If this message helped you understand this passage more deeply, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who may need encouragement, and follow the Holy Path Insights channel for more biblical reflections that bring Scripture to life in a meaningful and powerful way.